Alrighty, boys and girls, we are at Abilene Speedway. We were running really late because we were working on a little bit of a special project that I can't really talk about yet. So maybe like a month or so, a month and a half, I'll be able to show it off a little bit. But for now, just kept under wraps, just a bit of a secret. Point being, Abilene tonight for third time this year, something like that. I think it's the third time. So we won every time this year at this track. Hopefully we can keep it going 3 in a row. But 12 cars, so we actually have a better count than last time by a hair. So a couple of DFW cars came this way as well. So we should have a pretty solid race tonight. Track is probably going to dry off pretty quick, much like last time, even quicker than last time, I think, because there was pretty much no rain here this week at all. So car has been all cleaned up, ready to go from Architect. You know how that went. I haven't posted it yet, but should post it on Monday. But then you'll be watching this later, so I don't know what I'm telling you. Point being, car was filthy from Architect being stuck in the rain because we had to load it up and all that stuff in the rain. So we're here at Abilene, nice and dry. Should be some good racing. Dad is in there already infatuated with the TV, watching the Boot Hill 30 grand to win race. So wish we could be there. Maybe we'll be there next year if they do it. I don't know. We have a factory stock. It's just rotting in the corner at the moment. But let's get some racing started. I'm looking forward to it tonight. It's been a long day, a lot of sweating and metal grinding. So it's going to be nice to get the reward of getting a race tonight. So see how she goes. By the way, we start 5th in our heat race out of 6. So last row, and we will probably start the last row in the feature too, thanks to IMT points. See how she goes. Alrighty, well, we finished second in our heat race. Track was hard to pass. It was really hammered down. Wish we had a slightly taller tire, to be quite frank, because we were ringing that ship out. So we it'd get off the corner fine, but just no straightaway speed since we had such a short tire on. So keep that for note for next time. This track usually is not hammered down like that. I'm used to being slipped off during the heat race. But like that, just hammer down, foot to the floor. So with that being said, note for next time, taller tire. As far as our feature goes, where we're going to start, we start 8th. There's a few new guys, so they're going to take the row behind us, because basically how IMCA works, if there's 2 heat races, you take top 5 from each, they get considered for their quote-unquote draw, but that's based on your point average. So because there's 2 new guys, they don't have a point average, so that means we will start running them. We'll start 8th, have the best point average out of the guys that made that top 5 in each heat. So we'll see what happens, though. Currently, that's putting the car off right now, because it was pretty tacky, so got to pull some tear offs, which is always fun. So see how the feature goes, though. Should be coming up pretty soon. race is over. We got third. I'm a little frustrated with that one. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say anything I shouldn't, but it was just frustrating. That's probably the best way to honestly put it. You know, we've run. I try to run as clean as I can, but I mean, it sucks whenever you just get driven out of your line on three separate occasions, and then one of the times get hit so hard and knock your right front toe out. So it is what it is. I mean, it's racing. We'll go on to the next Saturday night. It's just, I don't know, a little frustrating because those first few laps, this car, we made a change, and it came alive. Honestly, that car was so much better. I mean, it was pretty heavy. I was honestly shocked by it. I was hoping it'd be a little bit more dry than that, so that way we'd have a better understanding of what we changed and how it affected the car. Because what we changed was meant to be for a dry slick, but I was just having to drive it really hard, especially after we got the no talk out. I mean, I was overdriving it big time to keep up, and even then I was falling back a little bit since I just couldn't get the turn off the corner at all. So, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens next time. We're off next weekend. I'm going to be out of town, so we'll come back weekend after. I think we're going to be racing Kennedale that weekend. Weekend after that, I think we'll have Kennedale next. So home track, don't have to drive 2 hours to go race, which is always a benefit. So see what happens next time. Thank y'all for watching. Cars at least in one piece, has a few dents and scrapes, but I mean, it's a dirt car. What are you gonna do? You know, it ain't gonna be a show car forever. So again, thank y'all for watching. See y'all later.